Hey, good morning and good
Good
morning. Welcome back,
morning.
Jasmine.
Hello.
How was your week vacation thus far?
It was great. We had some great news.
Yes, we have a lot of great news going on around that
Yes.
fucking goddamn town today. Um, I just want to share out with you guys. I have an honorary doctor's degree from the University of Maryland. Terps, give it up for my motherfucking Terps, baby. And the tabletop is breaking the fucking internet. I am using foul language, yes, because I've got to get out of this. Because on top of us breaking the internet, we are number one again for the fourth week in a row. Thank you, Jasmine.
Yes.
As well, the table talk is having tomorrow evening a celebration event, and it is our first ever televised Freak Down Friday. We will be having only family and close friends in the audience tomorrow, which is kind of good because this is a somewhat of an award ceremony slash celebration slash show that we have going on. We will be on back next week, Monday through Friday, on our regular time slot. We did take a week vacation this week, and the reason was because we've been working hard like some daggone Hebrew slaves. We've gotten our show to where we want it to be right now. Only thing is, we're trying to get our subscribers up. So, those of you guys that will be listening to this broadcast, make sure you go to our YouTube and subscribe. The subscriptions pays the bills. The likes and the views, they put us in our number one slot, which we are proud of and we are thankful for. But we do need those subscribes on those pages. As well, James has a spot. Saturday and Sundays, I have my own show called The James Hour, and it will consist of talk and music. And on Sundays, it's just strictly devotionals and gospel music. On Saturdays, I will be bringing in my co-host, Jazz, every so often whenever she's available to come in on 9 o'clock to do a Saturday show because she's already doing Monday through Friday, 9 in the morning, and then Fridays 9 in the evening. So it's kind of hard because Jazz does have a family. Our show topic for today is going to be on abortion. Uh, we did pre-record one previous, but it was not accepted by the powers that be. But that's okay. That is okay because that is why we have the opportunities to be able to record our own show. So, without further ado, we're going to be talking about today following the Supreme Court's shameful overturning of Roe versus Wade earlier on in this year. Voters overwhelmingly showed up and showed out to protect reproductive freedom during the midterm elections. Now, with holiday seasons fast approached, abortion was likely to come up in conversation about the news, including our friends and family. Now, here on the Table Talk, we share handy references and we guide on this timely issue, full of quick and crucial facts on abortion rights. Now, you'll have an opportunity at the end of the show to see some of the places that you can still go and get your abortions and things of that sort. Now, I will say this, and that does not mean that I'm against it. I'm just not for it. But that is up to the woman to make the decision on her own because that's her body. It's not my body. And that is the right to the woman to have. And I'm going to say this in the beginning. I don't think that no man on this earth, whether you're a law official, judge, whatever you are, you don't have the damn right to say anything to a woman about her body unless you are the father of the to be born child, then that's a discussion that you guys have privately. Right. This is a private issue. This is not a public issue. This is not a policy issue. So I think you guys need to worry about the stuff that you're hiding in your garages instead of worrying about what people are hiding in their bellies. All right, Jazz, no further ado, let's give it over to my co-host, Miss Jasmine.
Yes. So the topic is why abortion should not be banned. Abortion is a sensitive subject that sparks debates worldwide. Its supporters claim that the aspect is permissible as women should have a right to say and have a say so on decisions about their body. People that are not supporters think that the act would reduce social problems such as poverty amongst low income women, Despite its motives to protect the fetus's life, it generates more harm to society. This is essential to analyze these negative impacts to ascertain that abortion should not be banned. Banning abortions does not prevent women from terminating unwanted pregnancies. The belief that illegalizing abortions would stop women from seeking an abortion is flawed. So basically, with that being said, that banning abortions, it will not stop a woman from, taking medication and pills or this and that to not be pregnant anymore. So that's just going to harm more women.
Right. Now, what I've seen was abortion laws by the state. Now, in June, the Supreme Court, they did overturn the Roe versus Wade. Now, that opened the door for the states to ban abortions outright. Now, just weeks after the decision, nearly all 13 state trigger bans are in effect, and abortion is legal in multiple states. Now, after Roe fell, the abortion laws by the state examined laws, constitution, and court decisions on abortion. It also assigned each state, territory, and the District of Columbia to one of the 5 categories: expanded access, protected, not protected, hostile, and illegal. Now, as we go through some of these, as I looked through some of this in the map, the way things are, it's very, very bad. And I want to touch bases right now on where we are, and we're in the state of Pennsylvania. The state of Pennsylvania is a hostile territory. Now, abortion will likely remain accessible in Pennsylvania, but without legal protection. The current governor is supportive of abortion rights, but numerous medically unnecessary restrictions make it difficult to access abortion care in our state. And then if we go over to the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., of all places, it's kind of crazy that, hold on, I'm trying to find it. It's kind of crazy that they in itself don't really have much going on, but it says abortion is protected in the District of Columbia. However, due to district's unique legal status, the U.S. Congress could attempt to prohibit or severely restrict abortions in the district. And that goes back to say, Jazz, when we were having a conversation earlier about the District of Columbia. They have their own laws, they have their own rules, they have their own regulations.
Right.
And because it is its own sovereignty. That's what we need to realize. If we folks don't get out there and press that button, and women, you importantly on this subject, if you don't get out there and vote and sway these senators and congressmen and women, they're not going to change.
Right. So it's each state is going to be a different law. So some states may not ban, some states may. So if your state is, you need to get into knowing who you need to go speak to and get ready to vote for that and protest and all that good stuff, because we can't have people determining what we should do with our own body.
And just know this, that you guys have the Table Talk with James and Jazz. You have our support with whatever way you guys go on this. We are very big supporters of rights, freedom to make the decision of your own, not for someone else to make the decision for you. Now, as further as I go into Jazz, I do have a little bit more stuff, and then I'm gonna turn it back over to you. Now, Roe versus Wade, when it was turned over, the Supreme Court let politicians outlaw abortion. Now, that's the key thing. They did not do it. They allowed the politicians to sway them, because we have such a big conservative part of our political branch, a part of the highest court in the land. The Supreme Court has eliminated the federal constitutional right to abortion, but we're not backing down. We're taking every step we can to keep abortion accessible to all people. And the reason that is because it goes back to what I was saying. This is not a state issue. This is not a political issue. This is not a policy issue. This issue in itself is a self issue. This issue is based upon the values and the principles of your family. What you feel you should do as a parent or a co-parent in this situation. We cannot make up your decision. We can't tell you whether or not you should or you shouldn't. We can't tell you whether or not we will or we won't. But what we will do is not stand up for someone's rights being taken away. Jess?
Right. So statistics says that 37 women amongst 1,000 undergo the abortion process in the United States.
And that's a lot.
Right. That prohibits the act, and 34 out of 1,000 in states that legalizes it. These neglecting differences portray that the law is not efficient in protecting fetal life. The women in these states that prohibit abortions may perform self-induced abortions or seek help from street doctors. Approximately 25 million unsafe abortions happen annually, especially in the states with restricted abortion laws. These unsafe abortions may cause health complications or death amongst women. My next topic is illegalizing abortion increases society inequality. So banning abortions elevates inequality in society. How can a man make a decision over a woman's body? We are talking about character now. You have to look at that. If someone is making an irrational decision with such high platform, that shows that you're just evil and you're not a woman. Right. So this isn't a woman's decision. This is a man. Okay. Right. Restrictive abortion laws widen the inequality gap between high income and low income groups. Yeah. That's a big topic. Since abortion is banned in most states, or they're going to ban them in most states, women are going to be forced to travel to states that legalizes abortions. However, due to insufficient funds, low-income women are forced to carry the pregnancy full term or perform a dangerous self-induced abortion.
So when we talk about that, it puts me into mind what forced pregnancy is and isn't. When it comes to discussing abortion access, the focus should remain centered on the people who need or will need this critical care, and the direct harm forced pregnancy placed on lives. Despite how anti-abortion politicians may frame it, forced pregnancy is not some political talking point. Forced pregnancy is taking away a person's constitutional and human right to control their body and their future. Denying them some abortion care has devastating and lasting consequences for the pregnant person. It can also jeopardize their health, economic well-being, and the ability to determine their own future for not only themselves, but for their family. Now, for pregnancies, the laws include all bans on abortions, medically unnecessary restrictions designed to shut down clinics so that people have to travel further to get abortions. So not only are the women coming up with the money to pay for the abortion, because granted, if they're on Medicaid, they're not being able to get governmental assistance to get these. So that means not only do they have to come up with the money for it, they also have to come up with travel, and sometimes they have to come up with accommodation depending on how far that they have to travel. Now, creating medically unnecessary hoops to jump through in order to discourage and block people from getting an abortion. Laws that require insurance plans to exclude abortion coverage. Now, these laws, they're designed to run out the clock that forces people to delay their care on abortion. So which means like the 14 weeks and the 15-week ban, that becomes obsolete because these laws are already governing them and are already pushing it back. So the further it pushes it back, it makes it medically unnecessary laws that increase the cost of the care, but not noting that it also increases patient safety. Now, denying people under the age of 18 access to confidential care by requiring the consent of others, that in itself is also a problem. You know what I mean? And who will be actually forced is those who have to get parental consent. And by them having to get parental consent, they also have to get the parent to pay for it. You know what I mean? Because what if both the father and the mother is underage? Now we have underage parents that are rearing children into another system that does not have any protections that would govern or help them. So what do you do?
Right.
So, that's why I'm a big proponent of voting. Voting leads to charge for anything. And I mean anything. And I apologize, guys, again for my phone. My phone goes off 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But, this abortion thing is getting sickening. And how I feel the political arena is trying to cover it up by putting all this bull crap in the news about, oh, here goes this president, and then this vice president got this in his box, a box of secrets. Folks, we need to focus on this. The fact of the matter, our politicians are outlawing abortions, and when the majority of them are what? Men. How in the hell can a man tell a woman to do what a woman needs to do with her body? Right. What if it's medically needed? What if she has preeclampsia? What if it's life or death?
Exactly. And she's supposed to have an abortion because she can't carry out the child, and then she's going to die because
So
man's decision, that's irrational.
So now that man that took that power, he also has to raise a baby because there's no mom. So then what if that unborn child is a woman child? That man don't know what to do with a woman. He don't know when it comes to a menstrual period. I know I didn't. I know jack diddly quat about what I needed to do for my daughter when she was in my care, when she was on her menstrual. No, you got to keep her home because I don't know what to do. You understand what I'm saying? And there's so many different elements that goes into play when it comes to these abortions. Now, while it has been legal right for 5 decades, politicians have long passed laws that pushed abortion out of reach. Now, the impact of these policies falls disproportionately on those struggling financially, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, undocumented people, young people, and LGBTQ people. Black and Indigenous and other people of color do not have equal access to healthcare, period. From abortions to prenatal care to preventative care. These concerns are often ignored or not even taken serious by medical providers. They have worse outcomes for COVID-related health issues, higher rates of maternal and infant death, and are more likely to be investigated, prosecuted, and punished for the pregnancy outcomes. So some people have the resources to overcome these obstacles imposed by anti-abortion laws, but people with low income, young people, and undocumented people are more likely to be forced to control and to continue a pregnancy, even if that is not the outcome that they want. Now, restrictions on the abortion care directly impact transgender men and non-binary people, and we're fighting to protect reproductive freedom for everyone who can get pregnant. Now, additional information, like I said, we'll provide it at the end of the show in the credits and all that stuff, because during the show time, we really don't have much time to give all of this information out. Now, as far as the ban goes, there are so many states at the moment that are banning them. And most of those states are what? The right-wing Republican states. A lot of these states, they don't give two shits on what the woman is doing or what she's not doing. All they care about is their invested interest in the political arena. Now, if I count, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 states, including Hawaii, that has expanded access. Now, when we say expanded access, that means that abortion will remain legal in that state. The state's highest court recognized abortion rights under the state's constitution, and also their voters had the opportunity to have the right to vote on this and to make amendments to their state constitution. So, for instance, I'll use California. California, they legalized it. They made sure that their residents have access to it. And the state's highest court recognized abortion rights under the California Constitution in 1969, 4 years before Roe versus Wade went into action. Now, in November, voters have the opportunity to amend the state constitution to further protect abortion rights. State laws protect the right to personal reproductive decisions. That should be universal. Everybody should have the right to their own.
Right. And I feel like it's always something about a woman. Even centuries when, it's like, why do women always have to fight for this and fight for that? You shouldn't even have a say so. And then it's going as far as their body. Like, no.
Right. And that's what I don't get. How can you tell me what to do with my body when it's not government property? I'm not women are not part of the military. They're not owned by the government. And when I signed in to go to the military, it was, you are now the property of the United States government. So anything that happens to you is on the government. So when a child is born, and i.e. specifically, we're talking about women, when a woman child is born, they don't say, okay, well, this woman's reproductive organs belong to the state of Pennsylvania, or these reproductive organs belong to the United States of America. No.
Yeah, they don't say it, but that's what they know, because that's why we're numbered. Like, it goes deeper than this. That's why we have the table talk.
That's right, because at the table talk, we don't give two shits about what you feel or what you don't feel. It is what is factual. And that's the main reason why we do our show. We want all the facts to get put out there. I don't care about your Bobo being mad at you because your Bobo is mad today. Well, your Bobo needs to put on their big boy drawers or their big girl panties and suck it up and move on. We have big issues that involve our lineage, our children that
and
are growing up.
It's a part of our future. They're determining what's going to happen for us, and we have to stand up, because if we don't think that that's a right thing, so we have to stand up for what we feel is right. So they're trying to take all the rights from us right under our eyes. We don't even know some of the laws that's been passed. It's a whole bunch.
Well, that already happened. That started when we allowed Donald Trump to come in office, and we allowed them to build another party called the White Nationalists, and these separate parties that are being imparted to this is really, really bad. You know, we have such power that we're relinquishing to the good old boys all over again. You know, it has taken our parents who are still surviving, that been through slavery, that been through the 70s, that been through all of this, that this country is still under control of, excuse my words, Mighty Whitey. And when Mighty Whitey puts down the gavel and says, this is law, this is law, like what's going on right now in the Congress. You got this old time politician who was raised up probably in a racial filled home, is the Speaker of the House. And he is controlling the special assignments that are putting people in charge of our intelligence and things and that sort that should not be there. I.e. Marjorie Taylor. Get that bitch out of office. Sorry. That's one woman I don't like, because she's also a woman who supports banning abortion.
And so you're a woman.
Right. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, are you going to help finance these women's lives when they have these babies? I think not, because you don't even want to pay taxes. How about that one? So I don't know, Jazz. This is a subject that's very, very horrible. It's
Yeah.
personal. And I need the women to get on the ground protesting. Men who support the women and getting
We
this,
salute you.
we need you too. Everybody who does not agree with the Supreme Court's decision, excuse me, we need to take a stand. It's time to start holding those people who have the bully pulpit assignment.
One band, one voice,
There you go. Whoa,
and
whoa.
one message.
Ooh, wee. She said it. So now you heard it from James and Jazz on the Table Talk with James and Jazz. I don't know. Do you have any more, Jazz?
Yes. So women of color and abusive relationships suffer the most on this topic. On another note, most white counterparts are the least affected as they have the funds to access the services in the states that legalizes abortions. So you sit and you think, who is this law really attacking? Women as a whole, or specifically color women? Only 9% of white women live in poverty compared to 20% of Black and Hispanic women. Besides, due to the poverty, these women end up giving birth with a heightened number of children. They cannot afford the necessities such as food, good housing, and clothes. There is 75 to 90% probability for children born by women that were denied an abortion to experience poverty. As a result, they might develop health issues due to poor living conditions and not have health care insurance. They'll get turned around in the hospital. You have to pay tons of dollars, tons of money just to be treated, you know?
Right.
Also, go ahead. You can go ahead.
That's bad. That's real bad. Go ahead, Jess. I'm sorry.
Right. Banning abortions violates women's rights. Banning abortions undermines women's rights and freedom. International law guarantees freedom for every woman and man. Discrimination based on a person's body and sexual and reproductive rights. It asserts that individuals have a right to make the independent choices regarding their sexuality and reproduction. For example, if they intend to bear children or not, since it's their body, since abortion primarily restricts women from terminating their pregnancies, it violates their freedom to make decisions regarding their bodies. Equally, international law discriminates against women. Preventing women from seeking abortion violates the law. The denial is cruel and it discriminates on the women's rights to terminate an unwanted pregnancy. This would mean women are forced with the burden to carry full term against their choice. As a result, women would get forced into motherhood. If a girl or a woman is raped, this would not play out in their favor. How wrong is that on so many levels? Yeah, that's very bad on so many levels. So that's why women that's trying to agree with banning, I don't agree with you. I don't agree. You're a woman. You don't know what the future holds. You have grandchildren, nieces, all of that. Like, come on now.
And that to me is a contradiction of their existence. So you're saying to me that it's okay for this man to make that decision for you.
Yes, and then in certain states, they have laws that's passed that you can rape. Men can have sexual intercourse with teenagers that's 14, grown men. Although anti-abortion activists offer adoption as a solution for forced motherhood, it is not feasible. Most women that want abortions may not give up their baby. Over the years, less than 2% of women that sought abortion services gave up their baby. In 2022, as I researched, so this tends to keep women stuck with children that they do not want.
And that, I got to play devil's advocate. And this goes out to the women. There are preventative measures, ladies. These Planned Parenthood places such as that, they will help you to prevent from getting pregnant. Listen, I know how it is, the thing behind that closed door, that bedroom secret. I know the feeling. I know it oh too well. But also being who I am, and I've been who I am all my life. I'm 46 years old. And oh, by the way, thank you, goodness. I got my results back today. I'm negative, HIV negative. So, folks, if we can prevent from getting STIs or STDs, as we used to call them, but now they're STIs. If we can prevent from that, ladies, if you're trying to prevent from getting pregnant, don't worry about him strapping up. Worry about you protecting you so that you are not put in this compromised situation. Now,
no, you worry about them strapping up. You make sure if there's no glove, there's no love.
Yeah, because they're not, some of them are not proponents of strapping up because they don't care about making a basketball team or a football squad. Because most of them, they don't have to deal with it. Ladies, you are the ones that have to deal with this baby 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Papa's maybe, mama's baby is what we were raised upon. And that's what we were told. It may be his baby, but guess what? You got to take care of it because you're stuck. I don't know too many women that give up their babies. They're carrying these humans on the inside of them for 9 months, damn near 10. So what makes any person think that they want to give up their baby after carrying that baby and boring that baby? Why do they have to give up that baby and put a baby in the system that may not find a good, viable home that is safe for them? And I don't get. So
you're just having babies just to give them out? No, that's not a good resolution.
So I did find out some things to know about the landscape of abortion access. Within a week of the Dobbs decision, several states banned abortion entirely or at the earliest stages of pregnancy. And by design, abortion was inaccessible in a handful of states because of uncertainty left by conflicting abortion restrictions. So abortion rights earned resounding victories across every state where it was on the ballot. Kansas City, Kentucky, Montana, the voters successfully voted against anti-abortion ballot initiatives, and California, Michigan, and Vermont voters triumphantly protected abortion access by voting affirmatively on the ballot in their measures. About 13 other states currently have full bans on severe restrictions to abortion access in effect. Now, about 11 other states have attempted to implement abortion bans, which have been temporarily blocked by federal and state courts, which is confusing to me. But let's go on. The same states that are banning abortions also have some of the highest rates of maternal mortality in the country, and consequently will fall hardest on who? Black women and other people of color. Already, Black women are 3 times more likely than white women to die during childbirth or shortly thereafter. Abortions isn't the only right to stake. The same extremists seeking to ban abortion are also coming for our rights to access birth control, gender affirming health care, and marriage equality, and the right to vote. Those 3 things are very important to people. The main things that are very important to me is access to birth control and marriage equality and the right to vote. That gender affirming health care, I gotta say the nay no to the nay on that one, because that goes against my spiritual principles. My spiritual principle says that God made us who we are. He made us in our own image. So I'm going to say to my other lesbian and homosexual counterparts, if you are who you are, then be who you are, die who you are, because that's who you were created to be. And that's all I'm going to touch on that topic, because I've already gotten some backlash from the trans community about what I feel. But that's my personal opinion, and that's how I feel, and I stand on it. And that's why I have the table talk with James and James.
Okay. I'm going to touch base back on banning abortions increases poor health outcomes and mortality rates amongst women, which you were just talking about. Banning abortion subjects women to poor health outcomes and high mortality rates. In 2022, it was reported that the anti-abortion in the U.S. heavily penalizes health practitioners that offer medical services to women seeking an abortion. In some states, the law is highly restrictive, such that enforcement agencies to put crackdown on such doctors. For example, in 2022, Texas started to offer incentives to citizens to report anyone who helps conduct an abortion. Due to these restrictions, women have no access to a safe abortion. Then this leads to self abortion or seeking unqualified medical practitioners. 50 years ago, it was revealed that due to restrictive abortion laws, approximately 1 million women sought an illegal abortion. As a result, they were exposed to major health complications. In some instances, they died, as the street doctors do not have sufficient equipment and skills to manage these complications.
Okay, let me cut you off real quick right there.
Go ahead.
Listen to that, folks. Did you hear what she said? 1 million. 1 million women. So just imagine if we go widespread and start banning more and more. Imagine how many reproductive humans that we're going to have dying or having issues with their lower areas. Go ahead, Jess.
Okay. Banning abortions increases maternal death by approximately 58%. These deaths may have been prevented if the law allowed women to access to legal and safe abortion procedures, as we're talking about. Overall, banning abortions negatively impacts society. It does not stop women with unwanted pregnancies from seeking abortion services. Instead, it forces them to resort to unsafe procedures and street doctors. Also, banning abortion generates more adverse impacts than good. For example, it promotes societal inequalities, violates women's rights and freedom, and increases poor health outcomes and mortality rates amongst women seeking an abortion. Due to these negative effects, it should not even be a discussion that a male gender should have the right to determine the outcome on if a woman would seek or could seek the options to have an abortion.
And I agree with that. I daggone agree with that statement, because we don't have the right to speak upon a woman's body because it's not our body. It's not our property.
God right. You don't see women trying to go out to protest about what men could do and what men can't do. And you never see it. You never see it.
No, because Beyonce had the song a little backwards, Who Runs the World, Girls. No, who runs the world? Politicians. So be in the Beehive. Sorry, my friend, because I love your music and I am a Beehiver.
Right.
That's not true. Folks, we need to utilize these.
Right. If women were in the world, we wouldn't be having this topic on banning abortions.
Right. We need to utilize our platforms that we have, folks, and our little bit of infamous fame to start calling these politicians out instead of trying to bandwagon our own judge. Our own judge is going to be there whether or not we do what we do, because you built upon that. You already made that name. You already built that name. So now flip the script and use that name.
And start using it for education. Educate people. Motivate.
Not just educate them on a House of Darion clothing line, or
educate on history and the stuff that we need to know as people.
Exactly. And that was one of the reasons why the Table Talk was created, was because we were tired of hearing political people stand up there on the bully pulpit and start making our decisions for ourselves when we put them in office. We elected them to go into protect and to serve and to defend the Constitution of America, not their own personal propaganda. And when
they want to get your vote, they'll make it sound good. They'll tell you anything that you want to hear. But as soon as they get in office, they do the opposite. So that's what we're basically saying to some of these people that have high platform radio shows, talk shows that people come on. Have a day or two out of the week that you're talking about history and what everybody needs to know. Touch base on this topic, that topic, different topics, school, the real life events. And not just all of the flashy, this celebrity, the gossip, the drama.
Mm-hmm.
Life's more bigger than that.
And that's why, guys, when you tune into the show during the week with me and Jazz, and then when you tune in on Saturdays on the talk, the hour with James, you're going to see, or you're going to hear, the people that I play are the people that are political proponents that are out there putting their music out and giving us good relaxation, leisure time music, but also they have something behind them besides that music. The music is not their driving force. And that was my main point in signing that contract the other day when I went to New York, was if I can't have James's hour of talk,
right,
so that I can put my people that are listening to me on what is going on around the world, then guess what? I don't need it. Folks, this is what I'm trying to say to you. I don't need money to get me on air to come and talk to you or to bring a show to you. Because right now, as it is, myself and Jasmine, we don't get paid for this. We're doing this because we care. We want our people to wake up and to smell the roses burning. And I know
wake up and smell the coffee.
Right. And I know we're a little bit of time over air, but I think we've earned that right to be a little bit of time over airtime. I want to say that I want to hear from each and every one of you who hear us, who are behind our voice, because the more we get from you, the more we can put out there, and the more we can go after the next of these politicians.
Yes, each one teach one.
Exactly. I do have a few in the next coming months, politicians that will be coming on live with us. I guess they wanted to see popularity because they want to try to put their propaganda on our show, but curb stop them hoes. They want I will always remain in control of editing our show, and I will edit it right out. And with the politicians, I'm letting you guys know, you're coming on my show, it's going to be pre-recorded because I'm going to edit a lot of your jargon that you're putting in here. If you're not coming on my show,
we need facts.
Right.
Bring the facts.
And actually things that you are already doing, and I want to see it in black and white that you're doing. You're not just going to get on here and tell our listeners anything. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it back over to Jazz because I want Jazz to end out the show. And then what we're going to do with the last minute and 30 seconds, we got a new song for our show. And I like it. I think it's kind of zhuzhy and a little jazz it up a little bit. So Jazz, what do we say at the end of every show?
God loves you, and so do I. And there's nothing you can do about it. Don't let no one, and I mean no one, deter you from your dreams, aspirations, or goals, because only you and the man above can control your destiny and your future and your arrival.
So on behalf of me and Jazz and Vivid Productions and the Table Talk with James and Jazz, the number one motherfucking goddamn YouTube show, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to us, and I want you to come back. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, guys. Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be myself and Jazz. We're celebrating our milestone. We've been running a whole month, number one in our time slot. The Table Talk with James and Jazz is not stopping. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good day.
See you later.